Greetings and welcome everybody to the Dr. Jane Mackenzie live on a Thursday. And judging by the response from last week where we talked about liver and fat in the liver, parasites in the liver, calcification in the liver, was a great response. So I decided to do part 2 today. And I've got some really interesting and fascinating facts to share with you. So, liver, it's one of the biggest and one of the primary organs of the body. And many people have liver issues. I've also got an amazing case study to share with you. Those of you on my groups will have seen me post already about a man with yellow fever. And I'm going to show you some results. I'm just going to say ahead of the time and then as well. When he came to me, I didn't actually take a picture, but I'll show you. His eyes were noddy yellow. They were literally bright yellow. I'm going to show you the picture that I used, but then I'm going to show you his eyes 2.5 months later after having this disease for well over 12 years. And I'll expand on that at the time. So let's, with that, move to the slides. And this one's really just introducing the topic. And, some of the favorite products here would be the Parastop, also Para-Immune Defense, which does more than the Parastop for those who are interested, and our Gallbladder Flush and our Liver Cleanse and Restore. I'll also be bringing in the Almost Gold this evening. So from this, the starting slide, you can see all different kinds of liver stones. Here again, after the gallbladder flush, you see the liver stones, and that's where the liver is positioned in the body. Okay, so let's go to the next one and see. All right, and this would be how yellow fever looks like under the microscope, just to show you. So we're getting a lot of these happening. And obviously I do see it under my microscope. And here we have the yellow fever mosquito. And again, under the microscope, you see a lot of these circular parasites, just for interest. So here is the case study. I'm going straight into it. This is the picture that I used on the WhatsApp groups because I never had this gentleman's picture. But I'm telling you that his eyes were even more yellow than this. Absolutely. I got the shock of my life. And in all the 12 years and more, nobody had picked up yellow fever, which is the most strangest thing ever. They called it obstructive jaundice. And I looked straight at this and I saw it, and we went straight on to the quantum SCIO, QUEXED, EPICS, those devices, the NASA devices, and of course it was just riddled with yellow fever. I've seen it before. I've seen it many times under the microscope as well. So I just knew. Anyway, we really got going with this chap. He was really despondent, and when I described the liver just now, you'll get the picture of him. He was hopeless, despondent, anything to do with non-life. And I'm very pleased to say he was here yesterday, and wow, look at those eyes. And he said to me that this is the first time he'd stepped out of allopathic medicine and taken the plunge to go into natural medicine. And he is as jubilant as you can imagine. I call it rejoice. And he said to me, I said to him, look, it was your hard work that got you here. I never did it. And that's absolutely true. He says, Jane, I'm going to admit to you. He said, I nearly gave up times. And, I think people have to realize that getting well is hard work, especially when you've had this chronic disorder for such a long time. One really has to knuckle down and get to grips with who you are and your emotions. And I told him that. And I actually said to him, unless you do this, and there was a lot of repressed anger, I said, it's going to be very hard to surrender to this disorder. And I said, I'm not going to do it for you. And I said, I'm also not going to use clever words and, put frills around words. I said, I'm telling you straight, you are going to heal you. and the hard work is going to be up to you. And he actually got it. And he was telling me that, and well, when he came in yesterday, as calm as anything, as surrendered as anything, he said, Jane, it's taken me years to get to this point. He said, my wife can't believe it. And this man, by the way, hasn't been to work physically this entire year because of lack of energy, inability to work. In fact, going into crowds just drained him. So he's going to work on Monday for the first time. And this isn't the first time he hasn't worked. Over the 12 years and more, there's been long periods of 3 months at a time where he hasn't been able to go into work at all, and he's just been fighting against the physical. So this is a classic case of where you knuckle down and you deal with your emotions. We did the holistic ancestral orientation a few times, and he realized the need to surrender, and he did, and he self-transformed. So I have many case studies like this. I don't really get enough time to put them out there. And also, you've got to also weigh up the risk of putting them all out there. But this is just a classic one because it is a classic one, and it's first and foremost in my mind. The weirdest thing is that on Monday, a girl came, she was referred to me. And this is just how the universe works. So I was busy, put her onto the quantum devices and start talking to her and running through the programs and everything. And we were talking away, and I said to her, it's really amazing. There's this guy that came with yellow fever, and I said he'd been vaccinated and he worked also all around Africa where the mosquitoes have. She said to me, was he bitten? So I said, more than likely. She said, did he vaccinate? So I said, yeah, he did. And as I'm going through her results, I'm starting to see liver and obstructive jaundice and everything. So I looked at her and I said to her, and you? She said, Jane, the same. She said, but I got double vaccinated because they weren't sure if the first one worked. Well, I was absolutely amazed. I just actually couldn't believe, out of all the stories I could have started telling her, I brought up this guy before I even knew. Now, I don't know. It's inexplicable. So just to share that a little bit with you. Anyway, I was able to say to her, look, there's hope at the end of the tunnel here. But I hadn't even seen this man yet. So I can actually even send her this slide and say, wow, look at this. So she never had as much liver damage as him. When there's yellow like that, there's a lot of bilirubin being secreted. It's almost like when you have an infection, the white blood cells go up. When the liver's diseased, the bilirubin goes up to protect it. We also do a urine test. And I wish you could have seen the color of this urine. It's thick, dark brown. And, time and time again, we put him on the oxygen drips. We put him on the oxygen itself, the DMSO, the parammunes, etc., etc. We started regenerating him, and as the liver regenerated, the bilirubin has, reduced, subsided. So I think we're about 50% with him because this parasite has caused intense amount of damage in his body. So we still got to, his bones in particular have been really hit. So anyway, I think this is absolutely great. And I'm going to share with you some information on the liver, these interesting facts I said I would tell you about. And it has both physical and emotional significance, as I've said. So one of the main advantages of if the liver does become disordered is that it's a very forgiving organ, and it has the ability to regenerate itself. So that's a huge plus. And even if 70% is removed, it can still regenerate, and it will get back to its full size within weeks. And this is why liver transplant is possible, even with only a portion of a donor's liver. So another client comes to mind here, and he came to me. Look, I just hope that this goes through without getting struck off. But anyway, he came to me and he said, Jane, I've been given 2 years to live. It's my liver. Anyway, we got busy, And of course, he wasn't as bad as this, but we regenerated it. And well, I'll tell you, he's still alive. And this was probably 7 years ago. So just to tell you, using the quantum devices, the Skio, Educta, QUEX, EPEX devices that we have, which work as quantum medicine, the products that we have, which in food state, plant-based, whole food, quantum state nutrients. And quantum state nutrient means a nutrient that's exactly in the form that nature grew it, that nature provided it. It hasn't been tinctured, extracted, frozen, manufactured, patented. So we're sitting with the toolkit here of quantum-based nutrients. That means we are quantum-based beings anyway. When we introduce these products with high intelligence into the body's innate intelligence kicks in and starts healing according to its own internal knowledge. Innate knowledge of what needs to happen first. So you don't have to do anything. The guesswork is out the way and the intelligence takes over. So that's how we restore with the liver cleanse, oxygen, DMSO, diet, lifestyle, stress. We'll go into that a little bit later too. So that's also an epic case. And also the liver performs over about 500 vital functions. It's very good at multitasking, if you like. And it'll detoxify the blood, very important. It helps the spleen there. It will produce bile for digestion. And the gallbladder flush and me, I'm very passionate about that because we just get phenomenal results overnight, literally overnight. There was a lady who came in with skin problems, and skin and liver and eyes generally go together. And she went home, she did the gallbladder flush. The next day she said to me, "Jane, my skin, please say it's going to stay like this." So overnight, her skin rejuvenated just because the toxins were out. And pain goes with the gallbladder flush. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But I mean, this is our gallbladder flush. It's a whole kit, and you've got a whole array of things inside there, and a lovely instruction sheet. And that's just one of the most best things that we have. The Almost Gold is absolutely fantastic, and this is for every single organ in the body, every cell, every tissue. And then our gallbladder flush. So our liver cleanse, and that's got a lot of nutrients. The main one being Schizandra berry, and I spoke about that last week. So go and watch last week's recording. It's already posted on the Jane Mackenzie YouTube. Like, subscribe, and comment as usual. And you'll get a host of information from last week too, and products to use. And I think that's important. We're meeting people all day long who are ill, and we need to be able to be in a position to advise them if we can. And try to avoid the over 12 years of suffering. I can't tell you how many stories there are like this. Anyway, that is what it is. We also use the liver also will regulate blood sugar, very, very important because of the glucose storage, and it will store essential vitamins and minerals as well, and it will also help metabolize protein. So protein metabolism begins actually with digestion and absorption, and we do use the replica RNA DNA there because it contains mRNA, which is for protein metabolism, apart from everything else that it's doing to regenerate the liver and improve immunity. So as a blood processor, at any given moment, the liver holds 13% of the body's blood supply. It filters about 1.4 liters of blood every minute. Imagine. It's got a massive job to do. And this is how it removes the toxins. So it's a continual circulation of the blood through the liver, and it's continually, sucking out and removing the toxins. And the toxins can be anything from xenoestrogens, where in the liver cleanse we're using chlorella to split them off and iodine to bind the site, which would be that would be for the bromine, the fluorine, the chlorines. Schizandra berry to take the toxins out. And there's a whole host of very specially Jane Mackenzie designed nutrients in the liver cleanse. And to come in and support and clean. We've also got our glutathione, which is very supportive of the liver and really brings in, it gives the liver energy to do what it needs to do. It will also, has a crucial role in metabolism generally, more than only just proteins. It also converts excess carbs and proteins into fat for storage. It will produce cholesterol, which is essential for hormone production and cell membranes. However, when we indulge and we have too much oil, too much heated oil, I think that's one of my pet problems, is heated oil, which is all in the trans fat state, which is cancer forming. It's a free radical. And if you indulge in that and all your food is fried, you've got major problems, because it will be thick. There'll be pools of oil lying there. The parasites eat it, live off it, and the liver is going to be, of course, incredibly fatty. So, very, very important that we consume cold pressed, wholesome fatty acids. And my chosen oil, for the purposes that I need it from a scientific and physical point of view, is flaxseed oil, because it has the highest life force of all the oils. The electron spin is very close to the proton and the neutron and spins very fast. That means higher life force. And these fatty acids, if you don't mind me just sharing this with you, if you consider the cell membrane, there's a double fatty acid lipid layer there. And in order to seal off the cell membrane from viruses, etc., you need proper cold-pressed, untransformed fatty acids to fill in all the gaps, so that each cell can be protected and reproduces a new cell exactly like the one it was. So we're not allowing foreign things in. And this is one of the major roles, especially in degeneration, is to seal off the cell membranes and only allow oxygen and good foods through, and to filter out and not let foreign matter come through. It's extremely important. And getting back to the liver as well, because if the oil's not getting digested, a trans fat doesn't digest it, and there's no enzymes. It's all heated. So we tell people, cook with water. Get the oil away from the stove. On your table is your bottle of flaxseed oil, cold pressed. Ours, we were asked the question the other day, is pressed and bottled in 1 month and sent to us in a cardboard box. It's been on no shop floor, no warehouse, not near any electrical cables. It's the most dynamic oil you'll find. Anyway, just to share that with you. So very important to aid the liver in digestion. If you use the Budwick mixture, you A for away, because the cottage cheese flaxseed oil blend, where the sulfur makes the flaxseed oil water soluble, that will shoot everywhere, and it's not going to block up the blood. And she used it on those patients that the hospital couldn't heal any longer. And how she worked with it was because she got it to be water soluble, and then it came and protected the cell membrane from invading pathogens and toxins. So it's really a wow that. And you will balance your weight with that Budwick, especially in the evening, because that oil in the evening does something overnight, which is magic. The inflammation goes. So just to share that with you. So we've got to look at this fat, the fat factory and the fat regulation ability of the liver. And balancing cholesterol, because we do need it. No one says you don't need it, but we don't need it in excess, because then we get plaque. And then we start getting stones, and then we start needing a gallbladder flush and a kidney flush, and etc. Also, the liver will generate heat. So averaging around 40 degrees centigrade, bearing in mind the normal body temperature is 37. So it's one of the hottest organs. It's got very high metabolic activity, which actually helps maintain our body temperature. So that in itself, it's got a crucial role. That is our neg entropy, our ability to be in a cold room and be warm. If that makes sense. We don't cool down. Ability to stay warm in a cold room. It's called neg entropy, life force. Liver is life. Bile flow is life flow. So to live, L-I-V-E, is liver. Some moving now a little bit to emotional and psychological associations with the liver. If you're looking at traditional Chinese medicine, the liver is associated with anger, and it will also store unprocessed emotions affecting mood and mental health, as will the other organs, I'm just saying. So stress in the liver, chronic stress and emotional stress can negatively impact the liver function, leading to fatty liver disease and impairing its ability to detoxify. And this is where good nutrition, good digestion, good absorption are so important at the outset. Chewing your food well as well. So we need to be very selective about what we consume, because it's going to have an effect positively or negatively on the body, as well as our state of emotion when we're eating. So food will either heal us or harm us, depending on our emotional state at the time. All right. So that's from a Chinese traditional point of view. Most of you will have heard this. Chronic stress and emotional distress will negatively affect liver function and lead to fatty liver disease. That's different. That's non-alcoholic fatty cirrhosis of the liver. The gut-liver-brain axis. So these are really interconnected through biochemical signaling anyway. And very important to also transfer messages. The liver is via the blood will transfer messages to the brain, very important. And the gut and brain are synonymous anyway. The Chinese call it the second brain. Even looks the same. The small intestine looks the same as the brain. So liver dysfunction is going to lead to things like brain fog, depression, anxiety, and it affects the neurotransmitter balance, and that's not good, because neurotransmitters are things like serotonin, dopamine, GABA, are important neurotransmitters that basically keep the brain ticking over, keeping the wavelength of the brain intact. And so very important that we balance the neurotransmitters, and also obviously clear toxins, because toxins in the gut affect toxins in the liver, affect toxins in the brain. And, obviously the liver's ability to detox them all. So, that's I think the magic of the gallbladder flush, because you get an instant release of pain, brain fog. You just get rejuvenated overnight. You come alive. And I remember one day I was at one of the stores, and I'd seen a lady, an IT specialist, and her gallbladder happened to be in the red, disaster, severely abnormally low, the bile flow. So if you've got low bile flow, you're not going to digest the oils, especially the oil globules. Anyway, she came in a week later into the same store, and she bounced up to me, and there was someone sitting there, and she said to the guy, just whatever she says, do it. So that was like really amazing. This guy was like looking, she said, honestly, do whatever she says, do it. And I found that was really amazing. And there's lots of stories, but the ones that just come to mind. So we got to look at also, I did allude to emotional eating, because the poor dietary choices and overloading the liver with sugar, alcohol, unhealthy fats, that's basically indulgence, which is going to have an emotional effect on you anyway, and increases our risk of fatty disease. So also looking then at the liver and emotions, remembering that digestion and metabolism are on a physical level and an emotional level. So people who overburden their livers may experience things like irritability, frustration, difficulty managing emotions, highlighting the link between the liver and emotions and temperament. So unacknowledged or unexpressed anger leads to depression, shame, jealousy, irritability, as I said, reduced energy, and damage to the immune system eventually, which opens yourself up to any infection that's passing. Bitterness and resentment are related specifically to the bile. And here we'll get things like guilt, hopelessness, frustration, hatred even, and even deeper issues, listen to this, of meaning and purpose in life. And, I'm just thinking of this client. It's exactly that. He's coming into alignment with his purpose, and he's witnessing what he does. And he's seeing where he overindulges. For example, all-night music sessions, and leaving him absolutely wiped out the next day. So he's starting to see where his excesses and his indulgences are and where he overexerts himself. So it's absolutely beautiful just to watch the metamorphosis of somebody literally moving from a very slow, if at all, moving caterpillar to this beautiful butterfly that's just emerging. And that's the term metamorphosis. Same DNA, but different representation. And I'm so pleased and honored to have worked with him this lifetime, where he's actually, slothed off and let go of legacies of anger. Really, really beautiful. And seeing him let go of, the repressed anger. And seeing him come into alignment with his purpose. And doing things that assist with the purpose, not distract him. So, apart from giving life, liver will, people who have a healthy liver will embrace life as opposed to self-destructing. And that's really the yin and the yang. And that needs to be in balance. And we're all going to be tried. And we can fix one issue with the liver and another one can come up anytime, short term or long term. And so we've always got to work with, are we embracing life or are we self-destructing? When we can recognize it and we acknowledge it, we can then work with it because we can see why it's here. And I think that's the beauty of the holistic ancestral orientation, because he recognized it. He got it. He learned it. So, just ending off on this particular aspect, a healthy liver encourages then enthusiasm, creativity, inner strength, and resilience. How is that? So it's a truly amazing organ, not just for its vital functions and for its deeper connections, also for its deeper connections to mental and emotional well-being. So, here, lots of cheers to our liver. And I'm going to bring in, basically what I did with this gentleman. I used my HILO protocol, holistic integrated epigenetic life orientation. It's a lot, but that's what it is. I'll show you more now. And on the physical side, we look at reset, restore, rejuvenate, and rejoice. So we are at that point of rejoicing. And, there'll be several iterations moving through, reset, restore, rejuvenate, and rejoice. And then we've those several iterations going through the holistic ancestral orientation. So the physical and the emotional purification are working together. And I've just summarized what the gentleman told me, and I told him, and then he gave back to me. And he just said, I realized that I own the disorder. I realize I'm responsible for it and that I need to release and surrender to it, to the emotional cause. And we gave him the means to self-transform on every level. And he said, I realized it was hard work was required, and I did it. As I said earlier, he nearly gave up 3 times. I don't think he can believe it himself that he's improved so much. And obviously we nourished with the detoxification. And most importantly, if people say to me, how long is this going to take? I have absolutely no idea. So wait and see. And he was like that, I had to, train him. And he didn't therefore have a time frame or expectation. I just said to him, put your head down and go, don't stop. And so anyway, we've definitely gone, to turn the curve of the bell-shaped curve. And now we're just moving into absolute health. What a joy. So this is then just in summary, the multidimensional holistic quantum well-being framework that actually I did in my doctorate, and the the thesis is on the Da Vinci repository. So you just type in there Da Vinci repository and you'll see my doctorate there, and you can click on it and read it. But here's the reset, restore, rejuvenate, and rejoice, bringing in body, mind, emotions, and spirit, looking at raising awareness, raising our consciousness, and achieving self-transformative levels of peace, joy, happiness, freedom, and ultimately unconditional love. So that's just beautiful, and it works. And, you know, as I take people through the processes, they're able to then do the work themselves and share with other people. So when we purify, we'll do the benchmark assessment. We've got to start somewhere with a measurement of the health risks that are presenting. Some the person knows, some we need to also raise awareness to. People are often obsessed with the symptoms, and the symptoms are almost the catalysts. The real health risks are beneath that. We'll identify root causes of disease, assess the nutritional aspects, the detoxification options, assess the stresses, the triggers, and assess lifestyle, and then obviously emotional blocks. You know, let's lift the handbrake. People know me, I often use that. Let's lift the handbrake. And that we can do with the how, and we can do it with the skio as well. Perfect. So now we've got some information there. We can make our recommendations. Of course, the horse needs to drink. I can only take the horse to the water. The horse needs to drink, and it also needs to, if I'm planting seeds, it needs to water those seeds. That's what it's responsible for. And then we've got our magic, holistic, ancestral orientation, where we're getting to the root cause beyond the physical. And it is absolutely fascinating. There's no script for it, but we work in the universal quantum field, and that's where the truth is. It's where your subconscious is. When we're working with the skio and the QUX and the epics, we're working in the quantum field. We grow and we live and we raise our awareness from the quantum field. The Akashic records, the universal field of wisdom, the morphogenic field, those are all names for it. So yeah, we've got that. People book for that. And then I just wanted to point out that we also do it for businesses, of course. So we lift the handbrake here on a personal level, and then the management can get together, or leadership, or strategize and move. So we'll do this holistic ancestral orientation individually and in the group, and we transform the businesses. So that's where people are stuck with their businesses. It's actually stuckness with them. So fantastic. And then I've got beautiful savings for March. You can, there's the website address. I've also put it on the chat. So, you know, you can go, I've put the liver cleanse on, the para-immune is on there, the foot soaks, the zeolite, our new citrus foot soak, which has got 4 salts in it, and the earthing mats are still there, and the pendant is still there, and the all clear detox is still there. So there might be 1 or 2. In fact, there are the cell oxygen, the DMSO, the probiotic microbiome reset is still there. So go and have a look and see what suits you. And we just keep on moving forward, and it's always an honor and privilege to have people join from all around the world. And I will be posting this one alongside the other one from last week. And then I think we've got the liver pretty organized. You know, one of the chapters in my book, you've got all the information. So any major questions, let me know now. I'm going to get on with the next thing on my list for today. And I must say, I do have the pleasure of working in my free time, you know, and getting paid for it. So I do love that. And thank you all. I honor your contributions to holistic well-being and, you know, the ability for us to work together in exchange. And as I shift, you shift. As you shift, I shift. So thank you for that. And as we do that, we raise our awareness, we raise our consciousness, and we get closer to our divinity, which is understanding who we really are. what I am really means. So let's all press on with our universal path, where we're going, you know, like that leaf flowing on the river, meandering around the rocks, not seeing them as challenges, obstacles, or mistakes, opportunities to learn. Vortexing, let the river carry on, let the leaf just flow down the river as it needs to, without resistance. The Chinese call it wu wei, which is action with no action, if that makes sense. But it's really without resistance. And when you work like that, you're working in your free time, and there is no energy drain. Something like this, sharing information like this with you, is empowering. It's energizing for me and my liver. All right, so good luck, all of you. And those of you who haven't tried the gallbladder flush, I suggest you do. Just about everybody is sitting with around about 2,000 or more stones, and it's so enlivening. And give me feedback. Okay, bye.